right, cool. This is the most impromptu, spontaneous pod, I think, to date that we've ever done. Maybe that we ever will do.
That's what I was going to say. I can't really see it being any more improvised than this.
To give basic context to the situation. So we basically set ourselves a goal that every single Friday we will be releasing podcast episodes. And we've done that since we've started the pod, since we started releasing the pod, sorry. And we had one lined up to release tomorrow that fell through. And then we actually recorded one this morning. This is Thursday night, keep in mind. At what time was the time?
It's 9:43 on Thursday the 11th.
Thursday the 11th, 9:43 p.m. So we recorded one this morning, and in our minds, we just safety barriered that, being like, oh, we can just edit that one today and release that one tomorrow.
So that's just pure wishful thinking.
Yeah. So
like, if anything, we're just like, oh, record today, edit today, done, out, grind it out.
And what we didn't think about was the one we did today was with Matt, which is coming out next week for you listeners. And he works in videography, and he wanted to use his own cameras and his own mics to give us like one professional episode, which I'm so grateful for.
Oh, and excited for as well.
The thing with that is the storage, because he filmed in like 4K, it's massive amounts of storage. So it's there on his hard drives, which he needs for the next few weeks for work. So we don't have access to that footage. So we didn't have a pod to edit. Or
what's funny about it as well is like, you remember like when he was like, we were talking about it, and like I think we both realized at the exact same time that like we're fucked, like we're screwed. We didn't think about the fact that it's like, he's like, oh, they're pretty big files. And we're like, oh, how big? He's like, oh, 1.5 terabytes. I'm like, dude, we have like a quarter of a terabyte SSD. Like we cannot handle that, not at all.
Yeah, so that was the initial shock, and then coming into it, it's like, okay, we've set ourselves this goal, and we're not going to fail. We're going to release. And I think maybe somebody listening to this goes, oh, but they're compromising the quality of the product because it's a rushed pod. However, my rebuttal to that is like, our product is purely authenticity. It's us being genuine and authentic. And by us getting in this sauna at 10 o'clock at night and recording this really impromptu pod, that's us being genuine to ourselves. Like, this is true authenticity from Kyle and Josh right now.
Yeah, so this is what we want to try and do and try and preach, or try and just like put on record. It's just us being like as authentic and as vulnerable as possible. And intentional with the stuff that we do. Being this, all of that is summed up right now in this sauna.
Therefore, like, how can we corrupt the product or lower the quality when we're just being authentic? Like, I think for us to lower the quality or corrupt ourselves would be by not releasing the episode tomorrow. And there is no option for that.
100%. And it is another rep in the bank doing this pod in here, especially in a new environment, which is very interesting. Like, one thing I've already learned is like just some lighting basics in a small like shape like this, like a half hexagon almost. Just like even just almost learning like the two lighting things we were messing with before, the tripod height, like what ratio we want. We're already thinking about that when we could have just bailed out and been like, oh, circumstances. What's funny is I actually walked into my house just before I was doing like some delivery driving, just before we started this. And like before, like I walked in the door and I was like just rushing. So I was like, g'day to mum and dad. Like, oh, what are you up to? And then I'd already told Finn about the sauna thing. And they were like, oh, like, so you like, do you not have a pod to release? Like, they kind of knew about it because they spoke to Finn. And they were just like, oh, what are you doing? Like, no, that's just stupid. Like, don't record it now. Like, telling me not to. Just like, yeah, but like, dad just didn't understand. He's like, but you had like an inconvenience with your scheduling and stuff like that. Okay. So there's an excuse for it. Literally the words he used. And I'm like, like, I just like smiled and I'm just like I've got to get going. But like, this is exactly what I want to hear, because this is what we're trying to do. It's just defy that sort of shit. It's like when an obstacle goes in our way, we're just going to do the best we can with whatever we've got, which is sick.
The only excuse comes when it's like something drastic has happened, and for whatever reason we can't do it. But it's like, no, we have the ability to do it. It's just really uncomfortable because like I'm really tired, got up early, had a big day of work, I'm exhausted. But I can still do it. I can still record a pod. The only other thing I'd be doing right now is sleeping. And I can get sleep later. Like I can get that done whenever. So
100%. Well, I guess we really don't have any agenda for it. So how was your day?
My day was good, man. Yeah, because we haven't seen each other
Yeah.
since this morning.
Yeah.
I was at a like trade expo for Bunnings. I think it's just held annually. So many people come through. It was interesting because like I was on a stand that was giving out like merchandise, free merchandise, and so many people just come up to you purely for the fact of like they just want free stuff, which I understand.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
if
that
I
makes
was in
sense.
their shoes,
I'd be eyes on the prize,
eyes on the
especially
prize.
Bunnings merch. Like
Exactly.
Bunnings stuff is so cool.
It is good as well. So the conversations are really empty for the most part, but I think the cool thing was there was a few conversations I had. I think this guy's name was Matt, lives in Manly, 23, like chippy apprentice, and he just like genuinely came up, was like, "Hey guys, how you going?" We had a conversation for like 10 minutes about his day. Now I was like, "Man, like thank you so much. You are the only person that is actually like cared about us." And it's not that like I'm not victimizing us, like, oh my goodness, how dare no one talk to us or anything, but it's just amazing to be like, man, this dude's not here just to get something from you. He actually is an interesting person that wants to talk to someone.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's almost like the fact that he even like the mundane, just like he was just going the next task, the next task, the next task. He actually took a step back and was like, oh, these guys are actually getting after it.
Definitely.
So just thought, you know what, I might as well engage in some sort of conversation with them.
So I think that was a highlight and a focus point. The other thing I found really interesting is how like selfish people are when there's no like rules per se as to how much you can have, and there's just a large quantity of free items. People just take so much.
And sometimes for no reason. Is it bad that I feel like I could justify sometimes taking free stuff?
I can understand.
Like a large amount of it. I feel like I could justify that.
I can
depending on what it
understand
is.
it too, like because it's free, and they're just getting the mindset of like, oh, it's free, take it all. Like take what you can. You never get free stuff in life. Jump on it. But it's like t-shirts, right? So like we had trade t-shirts, and there was just people that would come up and you'd give them like one, and it's like, oh, I got one of my mates, like, can I get one for him? Oh, I got another mate. It's like,
Of course you do.
of course you do, dude.
Yeah.
Of course you do. And then they would like, I would watch people, because we had multiple stands. I would watch them come to my stand, go to the next stand, the next one, just stand hopping, getting merch. And it's like, man, that's like, again, I'm not pro or against it.
It's just an interesting
I can
thing.
understand. It's just super interesting how there's some like really, I would call those people selfish, because like there were thousands of people that went today. A lot of people probably missed out on merch because of the guys that took 7 shirts or 12 hats, whatever they grabbed. And it's like, how did those people, like before they grabbed that 8th hat, did they think maybe there's a kid that will get this 6 hours later? Should I take it? Should I not? And then you get the really selfless people that are like, you go to offer it to them, like, oh, like want a free t-shirt at the end of the day when you're trying to get rid of them. And then they're like, oh no, like it's okay. Like I already got one at Melbourne show, or like I got one last year. It's all good. Thank you. And I'm like, man, I love you.
Yeah. Well, that also speaks to like, sometimes people see free stuff and then just like gravitate towards it because it's free. But it's like, for me, I'd probably be looking like, I'll wear those shirts to bed or something. Because like I have like no bed shirts or whatever like that I would wear to bed. So I'm like, I'll grab like one because like I can like, I'll take it to bed. But if I was walking out and they were offering another one, I'd be like, well, I can have 2 bed shirts because they clearly are trying to get rid of it. But that's, to be fair, is me saying that now. But if I was there, maybe I might take a bunch of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, that is an interesting point because people taking different, like they might just end up taking 8 shirts just because it's free. But when they go home, you're even going to use the 8 shirts.
Exactly.
If not, why did you take it? It doesn't make any sense.
100%. And because I was in the other side of the coin where like I was working with some people and they're like, oh, are you going to grab a shirt or save one for yourself? And I was like, no, like I have so many items in my house that I don't need. I have a bed, I have a desk, a laptop, 2 bikes, so many clothes. Like I do not need these shirts. Do I want one? Sure. But I don't need one.
No, not at all.
Like I just didn't take anything because I'm like, man. And it was amazing as well how many people I told that I was going to the expo, and they're like, oh, like hook a brother up, get us some merch and stuff. And I'm like,
Disclaimer, I did not say that.
you didn't. But I was like, man, wild how instantly it's just like, bro, free things given to me. Get me something.
Like Bunnings merch is so sick though. Like the stuff that you like have like I wear at your house, like doing some work and stuff, and like you walk out with like a Bunnings like fleece. I'm like, I want that so bad. Like that's so sick. But I'm sure like the merch is just like tees and hats. Like it's not like actual.
They have good hoodies. The trade hoodies are like, dude, no word of a lie. If you go on eBay and look up Bunnings trade hoodie, $150, $200.
Fuck, no way.
Sell them for. Whoa. People get, dude, literally.
Bunnings is like somehow this like icon. It's like Macca's, like, well, actually probably more so than McDonald's. It's just like, it's the colors. I don't know.
It's the culture, man.
Yeah, it is the culture.
But dude, I had so many, because there were no hoodies at the expo this year. I don't know, for whatever reason.
So many people ask.
So many people like, bro, where are the hoodies? Where are the hoodies? And you're like, bro, there's none. Their reactions, dude. Like their day was real.
Like as in, that's why I'm here.
Like, what? Like, just like, storms off. It's like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
Calm down. Just a hoodie.
Yeah, that's crazy. And like it's or even more amplified for you because you spent like how many hours today? Like 9?
Yeah, well, like 11:30 to 8.
Yeah. So just over, and like most of that's probably like interacting with people. So that's just like every like couple of minutes you get that reaction. You're just like, get over it.
Yeah, dude, figure it out. Life will go on. But yeah, so that was pretty much my day. And then driving home as well.
Oh yeah. So you haven't told me this. You haven't told me this yet.
So I'm driving home. Dude, it was wild how like instantly, I'll say the story. So I'm driving home and I saw a car with hazard lights on. Keep in mind, like I'm just wanting to hammer home. Like I just want to get this done.
Well, because we knew this was the case and we're trying to, like I got home from driving. I was like getting like ready and whatnot because I thought you were going to be here very soon. And then like you're racing back to try and get it here.
And I'm also aware that this like facility closes at 10. And I wasn't sure if we had to be out by 10. In my mind, I was like, all right, we have to be out by 10 just so I got here as quick as I could. But I see this guy with hazards on. I'm like, I just have to stop. Yeah. Pull over. And then also it's amazing what fatigue does. So I'm like, hey bro, like how are you? What's up? And then he's like, has no idea about cars. Like no issue there. But he said, oh, like bro, I think my timing belt snapped. I was meant to get it done like a while ago, but I didn't. And dude, in my right fresh mind, I never would have taken that into account. But I was like, oh, like what are the symptoms? Like what happened? And then he kind of told me what happened. He told me a different story a bit later, but like anyway, he told me what happened.
Was he freaking out? Was he wigging out?
Chill. No, okay. He was just like, man, this is such an inconvenience, but it's happened. Yeah. So I'm like, just fatigued, and I just followed his lead of like timing belt. And there's on his car, it's super easy to access, like 4 bolts, super easy to get to. So just like I pulled the cover off. It's like, oh, like your belt's fine. And as I was like,
as I'm
putting it back on and like clocked that it's fine, I'm like, why did I listen to him? Like, I never in my mind did I think like that his belt had snapped. Yeah. I was like, I didn't even think that was plausible.
You're just it's just like you're trying to get to the next point because you're not meant to be there. So you're just trying to get here. So you're just like, okay, well, if he has that sort of insider knowledge, then I'll just go with it.
I just ran with it.
Yeah, because it's like, if it is, then I know, and then it's fine, and I go.
And then I'm like, wait, dude, I'm the mechanic here. Why did I do that? That's so dumb. So I like put the cover back on, and then just like went over to his like diesel primer, and like it was super soft. And I was like, oh, it's like either, so he has air in his system, basically in his fuel system. Yeah. And I'm like, it's either going to be like an air lock, like he has a fuel leak and air's coming in, or he's just run out of fuel. And I was like, oh, what does your fuel gauge say, man? He's like, oh, it's like just above E. It says it has 40 Ks left. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, that could be right, or also could be wrong.
It could just be off. Yeah.
So I like started priming it, but it just like didn't get hot. Just like kept staying soft. My goodness, I'm freaking scat out. Yeah. So yeah, that happened, and then I pull off his hose that goes from his fuel filter to his fuel pump on the filter side, and I started pumping the primer, which is basically sucking it from the tank, and I'm just seeing if there's any fuel in the tank. And then it's pumping, fuel comes out. I'm like, cool, you've got like fuel in your tank. That's good news. Chuck the hose back on. And I'm like, there's no fuel leak. Like I can't see anything, meaning there's more than likely an airlock in his system. Being common rail diesel, I wasn't going to be able to bleed it like on the side of the road just because it's such high pressure. So I'm like, this is more than likely what it is, man. Plugged out CNC Motorworks because I was like, oh, have you got a mechanic you go to? He lives in Narrabeen. He's like, oh, I do, like, but they're in Alexandria, and it's expensive to get a tow there. I'm like, oh, dude, you're in Narrabeen? Like, dude, CNC Motorbikes in Brookvale, super close. So I don't know if he's going to go there.
Did you explain like how you know them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you gave him the rundown.
Like,
Yeah.
goats of the world in mechanics take it there. So
And you helped him, so surely he takes it there.
mate, yeah, you would assume.
Yeah.
But
You get his name, or don't say it, but yeah.
yeah, TJ.
Tej.
Yeah. He was Kiwi, I'm pretty sure.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a very common like Kiwi
I
name,
could be
TJ.
wrong. I could totally be off on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. But anyway, I was like, yep, this is what it is, like 99% certain. Yeah, I can't do anything, so I'm going to go. I had diesel on my hands, drove home.
Filth. Your hands are clean now.
Yeah, I washed them. And that was pretty much it. That's been my day. I love like the wild nature and just to keep going. I don't know if we use any of this, but like the other highlight, which was getting one of the guys from Bunnings. I forget his role exactly, but he runs the team that designed the Power Pass app. And it's amazing. I didn't realize that they're employed by Bunnings. The people that design the Bunnings app are like Bunnings employees. But I thought it would be like outsourced to like some web designer, app designer, but it's all like in-house people. And they work for Bunnings and just constantly work to make it better. So they're at the expos, like just gathering information on what users think and like trying to improve the product essentially.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the guy, really lovely dude, super insightful. And he does this really cool thing where every year he learns a new skill. I don't know how long he's been doing it for, but like this year he's learning like bow hunting with a bow and arrow. And he said he'll train for like anywhere from like 3 to 9 months of the year. And then the last 3 months he'll go and like do the thing. So last year was like cocktail making. So he learned to make cocktails. And he said he's like really competent in that. He can make like 25 cocktails just without thinking. And yeah, he's a really, really cool dude. So I'm super keen to have him on the pod because he's down to come on.
What a legend. He seems like he's just like keen, like from what, and you described that to me already. Seems like he's just like keen for pretty open, and that's like obviously the type of people we want to have and talk with, you know what I mean? Especially when you just have like, we don't know them at all. So no, that's awesome. Dude, yeah, that's such an eventful day.
It was. How was your day?
Good. It was actually great. Yeah, I had obviously we had the pod this morning, and then so I left that. We left that, and then basically what I did from there is I went straight into delivery driving. So I did that for a couple of hours till like 2:30. So literally for like 3.5 hours. I was so wrecked because I did like a really big run the day before. Holy shit! I don't even know what day it is. Today's Thursday. Yeah. I messed that up before with mom. So it's Thursday today. I did a big run yesterday, and like I was just doing bits and pieces, so I didn't really like do a good enough job to refuel. Like had to go straight from running to go do something else, and then had to go to work, and then home, just knackered, eat, go to bed, wake up early this morning. So it was kind of just like I didn't really recover properly from like that big run, which is essential, and I just felt that this morning because I got no sleep. And like, yeah, after this morning and then driving, and obviously like driving, yes, we're all like, it's in your subconscious most of the time, but it's a death like sentence driving. So you need to be at some sort of attentiveness. So at 2:30, I was absolutely cooked, and this is so sick. But you know how we were talking the other day about how, you needed to, like, you were so exhausted, like you were like, I'm napping. Or like you just laid on your bed and you were like about to go out.
Oh, last night. Yeah.
Or the other day, was that yesterday? Yeah, see, I don't know. But yeah, so that, and you were saying like you just decided like keep hammering, got up, went for a bike ride, and just like you saw some cool shit. Like relating to the Cam Hanes book, like you're reading at the moment. Which was just like, if you didn't actually get up and go do that, and you wouldn't have seen it, and you had like an absolutely great bike ride and it really like vitalized you. I took that today because I was so tired. Like I hit the couch. I was like, I'm actually falling asleep right now, just for a couple of hours. And then, I was like, just do it. So like you deserve it. Like you, and then I was like, no, like I know it's Siege's day off. So I text her. I was like, hey, like, what are you doing? Can we go for a walk or something? She's like, yeah, let's go for a walk. So we ended up going for a walk, like Narrabeen Lake, and just like, I was so exhausted. I did not want to go for a walk. my right foot, this is so sore. Like, it's so sore. I did not want to put shoes on. I was like, nah. But I put them on, went for the walk, took the dog. And there was just like, it was like sun setting sort of vibe. It was only like an hour walk, but it was just like dogs everywhere. Had a really cool conversation with this lady who was talking about how like recently her dog went out like into the middle, and she emphasized like the middle of Narrabeen Lake chasing a duck.
No way.
So she was in all nice clothes to go to dinner. She was like 55, and she was saying that she had to go like all the way out there, like swimming, to go get her dog, and like freaked out. Like she was like she couldn't reach the dog, so she just sat there, lay on her back, and said she's not religious or anything, but she just started praying. Like that's how desperate she was. Sorry, I'm racing through this real fast, but like she was like desperate. Like she's like, you know, when you get to that point where you're so desperate that you pray. She was like, I was at that point, like on her back. And then like obviously like she didn't clock this, but I was saying to her like dogs really like sense stress. So I was like, she's like, the dog just swam over to me and like came up on my stomach and just laid on my belly, and I was like, that's freaky. Yeah.
What was her fear? Like her fear?
Well, she was like, I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. One, because of stress with the dog, like it's going to drown. And two, so she was exhausted too.
Yeah.
Because and she's in nice clothes and shit. Like she's just stressing.
When was this?
This was like a couple of weeks ago, she said. This just came up in conversation. We saw her along the walk. And then,
that's wild.
Like, just like, oh, your dog's so cute. You know what I mean? You just start conversing. Anyway, so she said she came back in with her dog, and like there was a lady there like bawling her eyes out with a towel. Like she doesn't know this lady. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't know what to do. Like, here's a towel, like wrapped it around her and like dried the dog and stuff. And they were just talking. She started crying. It was like, what the
Man,
so she's
awesome.
just, I know, how sick is that story? And you could tell she really wanted to tell us, just through the conversation and like
waiting for the segue.
Yeah. And she
just like, super thirsty. Oh, speaking of water.
yeah, my dog actually, yeah. No, because the segue was actually because Bonnie was just like, she's just a menace. She was like barking at the ducks and shit. And this lady's like, oh, she likes the ducks too. And that was because the dog was chasing a duck. So that was the segue, but that was a cool conversation. And then just kids, like families out and stuff like that. It was so nice. Like, I just take that for granted sometimes. And that's something I like love, like family. That's something I always put first. And just like friends, family, relationships like that, I'll always put that first. And I was just like, today was a bit more about me. Like I was earning money. We did the pod. It was about me. And then just seeing like all those families out at sunset, kids enjoying themselves, like people walking their dogs with a smile on their face. Everyone said g'day. No one didn't give me a g'day back. That's something I always do, especially whilst running. Like you're never tired. I think you had to say this about like you're never tired enough to say g'day. Hello. You have to say g'day. Yeah. So like everyone said hey, which was sick. Yeah, and like it was good to see Siege, and we were just like chatting like about us in the moment and stuff, like where we're both headed, and like just good quality convo, nice sunset. And like I wouldn't have done that if I honestly, I reckon if you didn't tell me that yesterday, I would have fallen asleep because I was like on the brink, like you know when you're like, like I was like actually falling asleep.
And that like almost makes it even better because like I was reaping the gain from me just doing it, getting up when I really didn't want to, but to know that like sharing that story with you it motivated you to then like you and Siege having a great afternoon and Bonnie having a great afternoon, and that woman telling you her story and us talking about that now, and maybe someone hears that, like, who knows
what that actually means. So sick.
That one decision you make can just do so much more than impact you.
Yeah, so I did that, went home, had something to eat, and then I didn't go home. That was earlier. I dropped Siege off, and then I delivery drove some more until you told me you were off. I stopped, went home, got sorted, came to the sauna.
Here we are.
And now we're here. But yeah, it was a good day. It was
nice. And it's
so nice.
As I think about the reason we're here, like the reason we're in here at 10 o'clock at night, the finger just points back to me.
Dude.
Like it points like as in us.
Yeah.
Because like just this is honestly no word of a lie. Relying on other people is like you can't do it. And not in the sense that the people we were relying on are unreliable, but it's just we didn't think about all possibilities, and like because we didn't think that deep about like these scenarios occurring, we relied on those people just being like, oh yeah, they're gonna pull through, like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But no, the reality is it wasn't fine, and like 2 pods just had to.
No, like it's just complicated.
Yeah, just complicated.
Yeah. So
here we are. It's like it can only be our fault.
Yeah, which is so sick. Like you can take that one of 2 ways. You can take advantage of that and do like what we're doing right now, or we could have just been like, look, we've had a lot of spanners thrown at us today. Like you had a mini one, like a small little spanner thrown in the works for you to Savo, like when you're collecting those trolleys, and you didn't. Well, were you done at 8?
Yeah, I ended up being finished at 8.
Oh, okay, so you powered through, but you thought you might not be. Well, to be fair, we actually thought you were finishing at 6. We failed to mention that. So I was under the assumption, well, as far as I know, you were, that you were off at 6. So like we were going to meet at 6 and it'll be fine. Like that's not even that bad. But then you end up finishing at 8. It's at Olympic Park. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we could have taken it 1 or 2, like the other way as well, and just not done the pod.
I think ultimately the biggest, if there's any underlying message in this pod, it's sacrifice has to be made, and it may not make sense to those around you, but when you have your mission, your vision, and your purpose, like you do what you do, and it won't make sense to those around you, but you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, and you just have to keep going.
This feels very flow statey. It feels like the equation right now is like our vision of like accountability, vulnerability, etc., plus sacrifice equals this flow state, like of just like, you know, that feeling. Someone coined it really well the other day. We were talking to, but it's like how it just feels so right, and just like this is where we're supposed to be right now. And speaking to our vision and stuff, this feels like exactly where we're supposed to be right now.
Definitely.
And you know what's sick as well? We have any knowledge. We're actually in the sauna, getting a sauna session.
Yeah. No, fully. It is good. It's wild. Yeah, it does feel so right. And there's just so much sacrifice. I was driving here, like literally to yours, being like, man, I'm so tired of such a big headache. I would love to be asleep. But what I would love even more is to be right where I am, knowing that I am sacrificing to make this work and to meet deadlines that, again, doesn't matter to anybody else if there's no pod tomorrow.
No, because all 3 of you who are listening, you know, we've sorted you out, but no one else is listening. So
and it matters to us. That's the most important thing, is that we said we were going to release on Fridays, and we're releasing on Fridays.
That's what I wanted to finish on, is the fact that the reason why we're here is because like we have no one who regularly tunes in apart from people we know. Yeah, like the reason why we're here is because we want to be accountable for putting it out every Friday. Dude, I know tomorrow, like if we hadn't done this, we'd just be like, oh, there'd just be this like aura. I'd hate it. It would ruin me. It would put me so far backwards. Like I'd rather get less sleep and like, or a later sleep or whatever, than actually just miss it. It's just, yeah.
But now we can go into tomorrow being like, yes,
we got the dub yesterday. We got the fucking dub, dude. Yeah. All right. Do you have anything?
No, I think sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a big thing for this pod.
Yeah.
2 guys, 1 sauna.
Yeah, 2 guys, 1 sauna right here. You just need to sacrifice to make things work. And again, just don't listen to those around you that have no idea.
Also, don't listen to yourself, because there's 2 voices in your head. We could have both made a different decision today, but we made the right one.
But we all know like the inner bitch from the true self.
100%.
The real self. Like, you know when the inner bitch is speaking, and you just cannot let it win. You can't let it be the stronger voice.
No, sir.
Because again, it's training will build like momentum, and that'll create habits. And if you just constantly give in to that inner bitch, like that will be your normal voice, and that will be comfortable, that will be familiar, and that just breeds.
But that's a constant like that's a constant thing you have to work on, though. You know what I mean? Like every week that goes up and down for me. Like we were talking about like how the inner bitch conquered like a small circle of ours, with like Futch, shout out Futch, and Patty T. How like you guys had a barbecue the other night. I couldn't make it, but you were talking about how like Futchy, like the inner bitch conquered him. And like how I didn't do the half marathon Mondays that I've been talking up. Like I ended up doing it on Wednesday. Sure, I got it done, but I didn't do it on Monday or Tuesday. So it's like sometimes it wins, but it's like, yeah, I and you. What was that?
Because no, fuck shit snooze. I ate the pizza.
Oh, that's right.
You didn't do the half marathon.
Patty T is just a saint.
Pat is just.
You're just the golden boy, Patrick.
Hey, Pat, look at me, yeah. You are the best.
Yeah, you're the best. You're the golden boy. Conquer the inner bitch. Sacrifice.
Yeah.
2 guys, 1 sauna. Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Right.
That is my challenge for this week. I challenge every single person listening, and I challenge you as well to just continue to sacrifice. Like, if you're already doing it, keep doing it. If you're not doing it, start sacrificing to make your dreams a reality.
All right, I have a challenge. I said I want you, Josh, and anyone who's listening, to try and help. It doesn't have to come to fruition. To try and help someone else sacrifice something. So in a similar vein to what you're doing, see if you can get any benefit out of getting someone else to sacrifice. Maybe someone close, maybe someone you just met, and the opportunity comes up. Try and get them, or at least enlighten them on some sacrifice. Try and spread the word.
I think that can come through just sacrificing your own time, or just sacrificing yourself. Being the light is so often the way to inspire people by you doing it, even though you may not directly think about impacting them. Like, they will notice it, and they'll be like, man, this guy's just, look at him go, sacrificing everything, his time, and he's getting it done.
Definitely.
I can do that too. So yeah, love you all, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, bye.